Well,
Well, now
we're
it's
live.
7 fucking seconds of dead air. So is that better?
In realms of smoke and stories spun, a podcast rises, second to none. From internet's depths, a crew takes flight. The Cigar Loons burning ever so bright. With microphones poised and lighters ablaze, they delve into topics in hazy, strange ways. Oh, the Cigar Loons are gathering grand, with Kurt, Grumpy, Matthew, and Gaz at command. From laughter and banter to serious thought, a cloud of opinions uniquely caught. They puff and they ponder, they rant and they rave. The Cigar Loons podcast, a smoky enclave. Kurt, the conductor with wit sharp and keen, guiding the chaos of vibrant scene. Grumpy, the sage with a cynical sigh, dispensing wisdom as smoke drifts on by. Matthew, the scholar with knowledge untold, his insights and theories brave and bold. And Gaz, the wild card with tales to impart, a spark of the random right from the start. Oh, the Cigar Loons are gathering grand, with Kurt, Grumpy, Matthew, and Gaz at command. From laughter and banter to serious thought, a cloud of opinions uniquely caught. They puff and they ponder, they rant and they rave. The Cigar Loons podcast, a smoky enclave. From obscure reviews to cultural debates, they navigate topics through smoky estates. With listeners gathered from near and from far, they share their perspectives like shining stars. The aroma of tobacco, a comforting blend, as stories unfold without any end. Oh, the Cigar Loons are gathering grand, with Kurt, Grumpy, Matthew, and Gaz at command. From laughter and banter to serious thought, a cloud of opinions uniquely caught. They puff and they ponder, they rant and they rave. The Cigar Loons podcast, a smoky enclave. So light up a cigar and join in the haze with the Cigar Loons podcast through all of your days. A brotherhood formed in smoke-filled delight. The Cigar Loons podcast, burning ever so bright. Yeah, ever so bright.
Mm-hmm.
Hello and good
Alright.
evening, and welcome
Hello,
to the
good
Cigar
evening.
Loons podcast.
Here you
And
have.
sorry, it's a live recording tonight, but of course, I'm going to a cigars and stories night. We're sit at the table, so we thought we'd get together and record this live for you guys to watch, and we hope you enjoyed. And tonight's podcast is going to be a review on, of course, West Tampa, and it is the Circle of Life. And it's going to be a great time. So we're going to go over the cigar, of course, with the wrapper, the fill, the binder. We're going to go over the length, also the price of what a Robusto is, a Toro, and Gigante, and a little bit of brief history about the cigar, but also, of course, what the guys are getting from their cigar. But I wasn't fortunate enough, of course, to be smoking a Circle of Life. So I pulled out the West Tampa Black and the Robusto, and it's one of my favourites. So I can sit here, it's still West Tampa, and I enjoy. But yeah, so Kate, of course, we're going to go over the size of the cigar that, of course, you've sent to Grumpy and Matthew, my brother, and the makeup of the wrapper, the phone, and the binder.
This is a Toro size, 6x54. I really don't like to go much bigger than this, but this is one of my favorite sizes. There's a little bit of backstory as far as the wrapper on this is just my speculation, because last year, Ricky had sent us an unbanded Circle of Life before it came out, and I only had one of them, and I smoked it, and I could swear to you that this wrapper is, I don't know if it's the same, but this one is definitely a lot darker. It's advertised as an Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper, so it's aged and fermented much longer, making it that dark color. Binder is Ecuadorian Sumatra, and then it's got some Dominican Corojo 99 in it in the filler, along with Nicaraguan fillers from Corojo, Esteli, and Jalapa. So this we'll get into it, but that's what the makeup of the cigar is.
Yeah, and then of course the 3 different sizes. Of course, you've got the Robusto, which is a 5x52. Of course, like it said tonight, the Toro, which is of course the 6x54, and the Gigante, which is 660. Now, we won't go over the rough price of it, but of course, if you want to grab it, it's not an over-expensive cigar to grab if you want to grab yourself one. And it is a great cigar. The whole history about the Circle of Life and Mike's put together, of course, as we know, Ricky's got West Tampa, and West Tampa is his own business, being a cigar maker and CEO in different companies, but he trained under Ernesto Perez Carrillo, of course, from EP Carrillo, that is now Casa Carrillo. And the cigar is made at Casa Carrillo in Nicaragua. Normally, West Tampa keep the West Tampa to West Tampa's factory where they're made, but this time he decided to go with Ernesto. And Ricky wanted to, of course, go back to his roots, get with Ernesto, make the cigar, and then basically show you the 2 masters together blending a cigar and for it be his new future. So basically like a full circle of where he started to where he is now. But of course, guys, what are you getting on, of course, your cold notes? So basically, what's you getting off your cold notes on the cigar? So, Kate, what are you getting?
For me, the aroma on the cigar, it's very, and I don't know, it just hit me. I've smoked a number of these, but this note just came to me. For the description of it, I don't know if you've ever had like a wool blanket hand woven in South America, and that smells exactly like that, along with like a leather horse saddle, just very dominant leather. Those are the 2 notes that are dominating it for me.
Okay, Grumpy, what are you getting off your smell?
Well, I can't. I can't speak to that horse blanket from South Africa or wherever, but never been there. But that leather thing, and I have to agree with Kurt, man. I mean, compared to the first one that we got to experience, this this just looks like a total different, the wrapper is to me, from my memory, is much darker, because I remember that white band that was on that cigar didn't quite, it wasn't like it popped and stood out from it. The wrapper was light also, from what I can remember. But now this is it's a beautiful cigar. I love the color of that wrapper, but for me, it's that leather, and it's a little outdoorsy. I mean, I won't say like, you get a little more of the earthiness from the dry puff on it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a little notch above, that other one. Yeah, a notch or 2 up from that first one. Just from what I'm getting right now.
Then we'll go over to Matthew's twin brother, Miguel. So, Miguel, what are you getting tonight?
Hola. So I definitely can't speak to woven blankets from South America. Jesus, where did you pull that one? Fucking hell. This is why you write the better blogs than I do. I'm all like, it tasted good, and with the whiskey, it also tasted good.
Good.
So, anywho, I guess the way I would describe it is like a forest in the fall, sort of damp foliage is what I'm kind of getting off of it. Not in a bad way.
Right.
And it's not quite barnyard. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that like kind of manure thing going on. It's got that
Good
like
mud.
kind of forest, a little muddy. You know.
That good musky thing going on.
Yeah. And then a little bit of leather for sure.
Yeah.
And I was able to get on the cold draw a little bit of cocoa, but not real strong.
Okay. Well, from what I believe, the wrapper on the cigar's like 10 years aged. Now, I know from seeing, of course, the cigars that you got, Grump, and Kurt got from Ricky, that wrapper was really light. And seeing the wrapper on this one, it's that darker obscuro. Now,
Yeah.
we don't know the story. We don't know why, of course. March last year, they should have came out. At PCA, they said, look, it's going to be May. They didn't come out till January this year. So we don't know the full extent of why, what went on. We don't know if it's a different wrapper to the original whatsoever. But when you look at what Ricky's done so far of making, of course, West Tampa, then, of course, bringing the Circle of Life, he's now got a new cigar. Well, two new cigars that are coming out. One being the Devil's Crab, of course, and then another West Tampa. He knows what he's doing. And we've enjoyed the CEOs, and of course, we've enjoyed the West Tampas. But when you guys were going over it just about that earthiness, the woodiness, the damp foliage, and of course, that musky taste, you know something near enough, the red and the black, I've had that musty kind of taste off the cold draw. And like I say, I have got the black, but gotta light it up, and then of course we can get into the notes. But what do you think of the cigar just on the overall looks of it, Matthew? From, of course, having it, because I know Kurt's smoked a couple of them now, and I know Grumpy, this is his first time. But what's your overall perception, of course, of seeing the cigar now and the band on it and how the cigar is?
Well, I tell you, I think the design is absolutely perfect. It's very sort of a good mix between modern and classic. It's got that nice gold embossing, and it's kind of a modern design with the wavy lines on the bottom. Very eye catching. As far as the wrapper goes, it's absolutely gorgeous. I would buy this cigar just on looks alone. You know, and it's a little bit toothy. I feel like mine is at least not terribly, But I mean, I don't know if you can see, but there's little tiny bumps kind of all over it,
Yep.
And it just it's a buy on site kind of cigar for me for sure. And I love it. The look.
What about you, Grump? What about you, Grump? Being now, of course, the second try of the cigar, but seeing the cigar now as the finished cigar that Ricky's brought up, because like we said originally, you had the one with the white band, which was given to us. What do you reckon of this now? Now you've got the cigar with the band on. What do you reckon of it?
Well, just getting started, but I've got to go along with Matthew though. This is one of those that if you're not sitting here looking at this wrapper, you can't really understand the beauty that we're talking about in this wrapper. I mean, this not every day you see a cigar that presents like this. Just getting started with it, but the opening retro hails are very smooth. Minimal. They're very smooth. And it's not really started off with a bunch of leather, but it's a very smooth start. It is. But I'm thinking that I'm thinking it's going to change.
What about you, Kate? Of course, from the original to now this one, with the look of the cigar, and of course your perceptions of having a couple of them. What would you say about the cigar?
This is absolutely beautiful wrapper on it. This is Skuro wrapper. As a matter of fact, when I received them, I bought a 10-pack of them, and when I got them, I actually I went back and double checked my order because it is so much darker, and I know, I mean, it's been a year since I smoked that original sample that he sent, but who knows? It may have been close, but I'd swear that this is darker. But it's absolutely gorgeous. The band on it's beautiful. It's very subtle, classy, very nice.
Yeah, you know something. Overall, when you look at the bands, if it's anything to do with the normal West Tampa band, of course, you can tell very nice looking. The Circle of Life. You look at, of course, the Attic series. You look at the Boulevard one that he did from Tampa. Which, what was that one called again, Kate?
The Boloche Boulevard.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
See, I messed it up, but yeah, that one. You've only got to look at the bands. Every band is appealing to the cigar. If you look at Ricky's time, then at General Cigars, of course, making the CEOs and the different cigars there, them bands are appealing. Like the Pelon, of course, the Mortal Coil. The rest of the cigars that he made, like the Bones for CEO, they really stand out. And this is the thing. The cigars stand out. The cigars are great cigars. And I definitely say Ricky is on that master climb. And he's getting higher and higher with what he's bringing out. Because you look at what he originally brought out to now. And then people are smoking the Circle of Life and they're saying, wow, this is crazy. But I'm going to get down to you, Grump. What do you reckon of Ricky going back to them roots and making this cigar in collaboration with Ernesto from EP Carrillo? Because we've smoked EP Carrillo and we know what EPs are like and we enjoy EP Carrillo. What do you reckon of Ricky and Ernesto getting back together and making this one, bro?
Well, I mean, I if I were in that position, I mean, I would probably attempt to do the same thing and, go back and, collaborate with somebody that, collaborate with somebody that brought you there. And I mean, he learned so much from Ernesto, and I mean, just to turn around and do a collaboration like this is, I mean, honor the teacher. Honor, and I think it's they've come up with a great thing. I will say that. I mean, it's Lord.
I think
telemarketing people.
I think it's a great story when you think of Ricky there leaning under the leaning tree with Ernesto to then going his own separate way with what he was blending. Because as we know, Ricky doesn't class himself as a master blender.
Right.
He doesn't. He classes himself as a cigar maker, not a master blender. But when you look at the cigars he's blended, he's definitely on that of being a master blender. But like he said, it's because he's never shown nobody how to blend, as he wouldn't class himself as a master blender, where Ernesto, of course, is a master blender because he showed Ricky. And I think it's exploring that side of cigar making, and if there's something does Ricky forgot while making this, and having Ernesto there and saying, well, why don't we try this filler? Why don't we try this wrapper? And of course, like Kate said, with the binder being Dominican Carrillo 99, then you look at the filler, of course, Dominican. You look then at the Nicaraguan filler of Candiga, Estali, Jalapa in it. It's a great mix, and there may be something that Ricky might have forgot when he wanted to make the cigar, or something that Ernesto could have given. But Kate, what do you reckon of Ricky and Ernesto getting back together and making the cigar, my brother?
I think it's a great thing. It's paying homage to the person that one of the three blenders that taught him what he knows and is responsible for being where he is today. For me, this cigar is a little bolder. It's a little more edgy. And I'm trying to think of an EP Carrillo release that I've smoked that's stronger than this, and I can't come up with one. This one's stronger than the Pledge. This one's definitely stronger than the Allegiance. So it's got some edginess to it.
Would you say it's stronger than the Encore Block as well?
Yeah.
The Encore Block.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. That one was a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't want to say bitter. It was just a little bit. This one is definitely smoother. Some of the notes I'm getting in there are just it's totally different. But I think I would say it is stronger.
Okay, Matthew, what do you reckon about Ricky and Ernesto getting back together and making this cigar, bro?
Well, I think it's always a good idea to connect back with the people who got you where you are and pay that respect to them. Now, I know we're not talking about it yet, but I'm about half an inch in, and it changed on me. It went from very smooth, almost no spice, to now I've got this heat building in the back of my throat, and I fucking love it.
So, of course, we'll go into notes now of the cigar. So, Matthew,
Oops.
I'm going to go straight to you. Notes.
Sure.
As you
Yeah,
started
man.
in the cigar, brother.
So at first it was just smooth, earthy leather, a little bit on the back end, and now it's got all that, but it also has this, like, I don't know what kind of pepper, maybe a white pepper, but it's like in the back of my mouth. And it's like just the right amount of spice. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
just giving me that kick that I was looking for, and it's here. So that's so far so bueno.
Grumpy, what about you on your notes, my brother, so far into the cigar?
Well, just getting a good start on it, but the leather is there. It's not overbearing at all, but it's present. It's still very earthy to me, but kind of balances things out a little bit. I mean, because a lot of times to me that the leather gets kind of harsh, especially in the back of my throat or back of my tongue. But the earthiness of this stuff is it's kind of a balance out to it. It's keeping it kind of smooth. I mean, it's really smooth, but it's balancing that leather out nicely. But I'm not getting right now. I'm not getting a lot of the cocoa or any of the coffee yet. I'm not running into any of those yet. I'm still on the earthy and the leathery, but and there's a little bit of spice that on the lips, and the tongue from that wrapper. I don't know if anybody else has that, but or that's what I'm feeling anyway. But it's nothing you're gonna worry about.
Okay. Kit, what about you, bro?
It's all good.
For me, it starts off with a bang. For me, I get that earthiness, that leather, but the dominant flavor I get from the start is this spicy oak. The oak, and it's like a black pepper, and it's almost like a Cambodian or Malaysian black peppercorn. Those are some of the finest peppercorns in the world, and they are, fellas. And Matthew, I think it's the pepper that you're tasting. It may be like a Malaysian or a Cambodian peppercorn, which are some of the greatest chefs in the world use those. And
I'm a fan.
It's good.
And for me, like me being a medium plus guy, I got this thing at like a 7.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. It's very good, but it's like at the top of my limit. So
yeah.
Well, of course, I know you guys are talking about yours, but let's go over, of course, as we're doing West Tampa. So the West Tampa, of course, black. So of course, it's a Robusto that I picked up, and normally over here we get more Robusto than we get, of course, of longs or, of course, Toros and different things. But this is a 5B50. And the wrapper, again, Ecuadorian Habano. So when you see Ricky's using a lot of Ecuadorian wrappers, of course, the binder is Nicaraguan, and it's from Omitep, and then, of course, the filler is Candiga and Estali. And it's not a bad cigar. The release date on this, of course, was June 20th, 2022. Now, I only got smoking West Tampa as of last year, and I know Kate, Grumpy, and Matthew only got to know about West Tampa as of last year. And of course, one of our favourites was the West Tampa Red, and of course, we voted for it last year. It's boutique cigar #1 in our list of 2024. And I like the cigars. You know something? They're different to other boutique cigars. This, to me alone, it's got that pepper. It's got that blackness of the pepper. I can feel it in the nose. The mouth's drying, which of course I go straight there. The leather. It's got that nice subtle woody note. And to be honest with you, I'm drinking, of course, Sixtons, which is an Irish single malt whiskey. And it's going with the cigar. It's not killing the taste of the cigar. Which, Matthew, of course, I know you've drinking whiskey, of course. So what have you pulled out tonight to go with your cigar? And is it changing any of the notes of the cigar or anything? Or what do you reckon?
Well, I do not have a nice 80 proof whiskey like you have. I have New Riff Single Barrel. It's 117.9 proof. And it's absolutely delicious. It's got a lot of nice spice, some cocoa, some fruit. It's a great bottle, and it's really complementing the cigar nicely.
Good.
It's hanging in there with the spice, and it's just complementing. They're complementing each other. It's great.
Good. What about you, Kurt? What have you got with your cigar tonight, bro?
I've got some Eagle Rare bourbon on the rocks, which may be a contributing factor to why I'm talking about Malaysian and Cambodian peppercorns. But
we do apologise for Kate's weird notes, but
You bougie
Kate,
bitch.
Kate might have had a little bit too much of the old secret sauce tonight.
no,
He's just the classiest one of us. That's all.
He has traveled around. He's got world experience. Might not be the kind of experience everybody wants, but he's been around.
Well, what do you reckon? What do you reckon of the ash on the cigar? Because I'm always one for the ash. And
We're
straight
stacking
away,
dimes over here. Nickels.
Yes, sir.
you can
nickels.
see basically the nice colouring of the ash where we've got that grey. Even though I'm smoking a different one, you've got that nice colouring. You have. And
Even
it's
I'm
just-
keeping it on.
yeah, but it's a solid ash. You know something? Most West Tampers that I've smoked have been solid ash. Even some of the CEOs that I've smoked have been a good solid ash through the cigar. Now, Grump, on a price point, and this is just us giving our price point. We're not going to be talking about what the cigar cost, but our own price point, what we would say. What would you say you would pay for that cigar if you were to buy that cigar? What do you reckon the price range would be for you on that cigar, where you would say that's the price for me?
Well, I could probably, I could probably, because it wouldn't be one that I could make a daily smoker. You're not going to get, you're not going to get a cigar like this at a daily smoker price. But you're probably looking at anywhere from maybe 12 to 15.
Okay.
In that neighborhood. And I mean, if I might go a little more than that if it's like something I really want to celebrate.
Yeah.
I really want a good quality cigar. I may go a little more than that.
So that's, of course, a grumpy price. And like we say, we're not, of course, discussing the price of what the cigar is, and we're not selling the cigar.
Right.
That's a grumpy price. So, Kate,
That's just my opinion of what I would pay.
What would be your opinion on what you would pay for the cigar, bro?
I think that's a fair assessment. What Grumpy put out, probably in the $12, $13 range. That's what I would expect to. I mean, I think people would pay more for it, but this is the seventh one that I've smoked. You were talking about the ash. I've already rolled mine off, but every single one of them, as expected, great construction, great burn, great ash on them. So it's a wonderful cigar.
Okay. Matthew, what about Matthew price? What would you say would be your price?
Well, I definitely would be in that range. 15. I might even go up to 20 because it's just it's a beautifully crafted cigar. It looks like a celebration. Yeah, man. I would feel good still even at that $20 price point.
Yeah, I think my price point on the black, especially here in the UK, so I'm different, of course.
Yeah.
I'd say on this, you're definitely looking at 13, maybe £15 for the cigar. Maybe a little bit high on this. And it's because we know over here, price point is always the customs charges and different things what rank
Yeah.
the cigar up high. But that's what I'd say on that. And of course, them are our own price points that we would come up with. Now, Kate, and you know this, you normally bring this up on our podcast when we do the podcast. You have the different guests. So I'm going to ask you, Kate, would this be a cigar that you would recommend to a newer cigar smoker?
No,
Mm-mm.
no, it's too. It for me. I know. Matthew said he eased into it a little bit, but for me, I get that spice right off the bat. And it's not. It is smooth, but it's a stronger cigar for me. So it's beautiful, but this is one of those where sometimes you look at a dark cigar with a dark wrapper, and it may necessarily not be strong, but this one fits the bill. This one follows the if you were to look at it and say that one might be a little strong, it is. So I would say no.
Yeah.
So, do you reckon then, because I know you said it's a little bit stronger than the original, would you go and drop a size and try the Robusto? Which of course, the Robusto are going to be a little bit more stronger than the Toro. Would you go and try the Robusto, or are you comfortable with that size kit at the Toro?
I mean, this is my favorite size to smoke. This is like my max ring gauge that I like. I like to stay around the 50, 52, but I like the length. I like to smoke for a little longer. I like that extra inch, from 5 to 6 inches. So you guys, man.
So,
That's what she said.
Yeah.
What about you? Would you drop a size, or would you go up a size and try the 660? What would you do? Go down to the Robusto or go up to the Gigante?
No, actually, I like the 6x50, 6x54, 55. That's a nice nice cigar. It has a nice feel in the hand. It don't feel like a little bit of nothing, and it don't feel like a toy. I mean, but now I may, I may try the Robusto,
Yep.
to see what kind of differences may be in there. But I don't know that I would bother going to that 660 and giving it a try. I mean, I'm quite satisfied with this one.
Yep. Okay.
But no, I would try Robusto, but I don't think I'd go up.
Yeah. What about you, Matthew?
Well, I'll tell you right away, I would not go to the 660 because I find those cigars to be, less powerful. I find
Mm-hmm.
the bigger the ring gauge, the
Yep.
less you get out of it because it's just so much filler. I I mean, like as far as the Robusto that they make, I would definitely try it. If they made a Corona, I'd buy 100. Because I think it would be perfect. I think it would be even more punchy, but still have that really nice leather note. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, I'll give Ricky a ring tomorrow and say, Ricky, we spoke about your cigar, my brother, and you need to make it to smaller size as well, my brother.
This one would be one of those that would be very interesting to try in a Lancero.
Oh,
Okay.
That would be the tail of the tape right there. If you could get one
Well,
of these in a Lancero, I'd love that. Love to give that a try.
yeah, but it's a good thing that you just mentioned that, because if you look at the West Tampa White, the West Tampa Black, and the West Tampa Red, he's made them a Lancero. And of course, I know some of the guys that smoked the Lancero. Kurt, what did you reckon of the originals in the Lancero form? What did you reckon of that, my brother?
I've smoked the white, red, and black in the Lancero, and I like the Lancero better. It was just that's one of the things that's really kind of opened my eyes to the Lancero, because I got more flavor. Definitely, I really enjoyed that. I liked it better. And, they're good in the Toro Robusto, but that Lancero was really, really special.
I'm not a Lancero fan. I find Lanceros to be one of them that you've got to constantly watch. You've got to watch the burn. Take your time with it, and
that's why I like a Corona.
Give me a Robusto. Give me Toro. Yep. I don't mind a 660. Anything bigger, nope, you can keep it. I don't want a 70. I don't want 100. And I don't want a great mammoth like what Asylum have just brought out. That new cigar what they brought out. Oh no, do I want to try that?
No, thank you.
This is the thing. When we spoke to Ricky, would Ricky make any bigger sizes? And like Ricky said, no. He goes Lancero size, Robusto, Toro, and a Gigante being a 660. Them are the comfortable sizes for a cigar smoker. Anything bigger is going to be like an April Fool's kind of thing. And that's why, of course, Asylum make them. Now, what do you reckon of the new cigar that Ricky's bringing out, the Devil's Crab? Because that one looks interesting to me. The Devil's Crab, of course, it's shaped in a flying pig. It's, of course, got the crab on it. The boxes have got a crab on. So, Kate, what do you reckon we've seen? Of course, the new cigar and it being posted from PCA over Instagram now.
I've seen it. I haven't actually heard what the actual makeup of it is, but it looks a little bit of a kind of a medium color. It looks good. I can't wait to try it, because he hasn't disappointed me yet. Everything he's put out is phenomenal.
Yeah. What about you, Grump?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to give it a whiz, like like the man said. I haven't been disappointed with a thing that I know this guy's had a hand in, and that goes beyond West Tampa. We know how deep his roots are. We know who he's made cigars for. So, but yeah, and I haven't ran into anything that he's done that's been a disappointment. So, I'm sure this is not going to be any different. It's just going to be a matter of getting hands on one. But yeah, I look forward to trying one.
Well, before I go down to Matthew, from what I know, the Devil's Crab is going to be made at the same factory as all West Tampa. And that, of course, is the Garmendia Cigar Company. And that's where they're made. And the Devil Crabs come in individual wrapped in cellophane to maintain freshness and quality. It's inspired by Tampa Cigar's rich heritage and, of course, iconic street food. The Devil Crab cigar pays homage to the vibrant heritage of West Tampa and Ybor City. And the release, of course, is perfect for collectors, enthusiasts seeking an addition to their humidor. And this is, of course, what Ricky's put. Now, the origin, of course, is Nicaraguan. The shape is a perfecto pigtail. It comes in a 4.5 inches. It's a 60 ring gauge. The wrapper is Obscuro. the strength is a medium. Nothing is being given away of the binder and the filler. And they come in a box count of 50. So that's unique that you can get 50 of them in a box count. Now, who knows what the price is going to be, and I wouldn't like to speculate on it. But yet
Yeah.
again, you look at that Obscuro, the wrapper. Of course, your wrapper there is Obscuro. He's looking and he's mixing with different things all the time. I like Obscuro, and I think sometimes that Obscuro wrapper gives you a little bit more for punch, and it does, and especially if you mix it and you have Obscuro and double the Hero. Geez, that's it, right? In your face, because that will
Yep.
give you a kick. And but yeah, I definitely want to try that Devil's Crab because it looks unique, and the overall of PCA, they had a big massive stand. And we've also got to put a shout out, of course, to his daughter. Ricky's daughter does a lot for the company, of repping, of course, going to the different cigar events, and she was there at PCA from the start of the morning till the end of the night. She was there for the full cleanup of taking the stand down and coming away. And she does a lot. And I tell you one thing, she's a very passionate sister of the leaf. And Ricky's got a great one there. And Ricky's a great guy. Anyway, we've spoken to Ricky. You can catch the podcast on YouTube anyway that we did with Ricky. But of course, we'll go back into taste notes. So Grumpy, what are your taste notes now, my brother, as you're working more into the cigar?
Well, the leather and the earth haven't gone anywhere. It's once in a while I kind of think there's kind of a little nuttiness that tries to creep in there. Can't quite put my finger on exactly what that is, but there's a it ain't licorice, but there's something in that neighborhood that slips through there once in a while, but now mainly it's a nice smooth earth with some ample leather to it. But it's just like silk smooth, man. It's just, yeah, it don't get any better. I mean, it's for me. I mean, it may be a lot more complex to these guys or whatever, but
Yep.
and I'm perfectly happy with it being exactly what it is because it's doing it very well.
Yep.
It's putting these things together very well, and it's very enjoyable. So, I'm having a ball with it.
Well, what I'll do, I'll go over to Kate, get Kate's take, and then we'll go down to Matthew and get Matthew's take. So, Kate, we'll go with you, my brother.
I'm just coming into the second third right now, and for me, it doesn't really tone down, but it kind of settles into that smoothness for me. Still got the pepper. I'm gonna go with a Malaysian peppercorn. After I get into it, that's what I'm gonna settle on. But the earthiness and the leather seem to be. It's still got that oak in there, but that it's just a real rich, earthy leather, and just as Grumpy said, the smoothness. It's and I think what makes it special is. And I don't know this for sure; it's speculation, but that Corojo 99. It's whatever. I think it's just giving it that little extra edge. It does. You guys there are some surprises, and for me anyway, as I go through it. But I knew you guys were going to like the cigar. That's why I wanted to send you one because I knew it was going to be both right in both of your wheelhouses. So
That's it, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, Matthew, what about you, my brother? What are you getting now?
Well, I don't have a lot different to say than those guys. That pepper is still very prevalent. Leather is still on top. It is very smooth, like verging on the like on like a chewy smoke almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know what you mean
It's
when you say that.
just, it's just, man, it's just very enjoyable. I don't know if it's because you said it earlier or because I'm really getting it, but that oak is now right in the front. I've worked with oak many times doing woodwork, and it just, cutting through with it. If your blade gets a little dull, you get that burning oak kind of smell and taste, and that's exactly what I'm getting now.
And
But would you say?
it's
But
not
would
a
you say it's
little
a
piece
creamy?
of oak. I'm
Would you say
sorry,
it's
guys.
creamy oak?
Yes,
Would you say it's creamy oak?
Yeah, I would say it's a creamy oak. Yeah,
but it's
creamy,
a big
peppery.
piece of oak. I mean, it's a sizable
Yeah, just a
piece of
big
oak.
old chunk. Big old
And
chunk.
of course, we haven't been licking oak. We haven't been licking leather. It's just
Hey,
Well,
speak for
the
yourself.
yeah, I mean, Gaz, we know your history, but go on
Mm.
with the leather and the chaps and stuff. But anyway, I
I'm not
digress.
gonna I'm not gonna swear on this podcast, but fuck you, Kurt.
I'm not gonna swear, but here's the swear word.
You know something? People say to us, don't they? Well, how do you get this note? How do you know what leather tastes like? How do you know what wood tastes like? When you've worked with wood, you get that smell of the burning.
Oh, yeah.
With leather, you know what the smell of wet leather is. You know the smell, of course, of barnyard. If you walk down a local farm, you know what hay smells like. You know what coffee's like because we drink it or we smelt the beans in the coffee shop when they've been roasted. This is the thing, we know what the pepper smells like. But I've always said the best thing to do for any new cigar smoker is go and get the pots of the herbs in the kitchen if your wife's cooking or you're cooking. Smell the herbs and do one a day. Do a cayenne pepper, do a black pepper, do a white pepper. Then go down and check out the rest of the herbs because when Emily cooks, she'll cook different food. And if she's cooking a curry, I'll have a smell of the spices there. I'll have a smell of the Italian. I'll have a smell of the Mexican. And sometimes that smell stays in the head because when I smoke the cigar, it comes out. And that's always the best way of having. And of course, I know, Kurt, you had a wheel that, of course, was distinguishing the different tastes. Even pick one of them up. Pick yourself a cigar wheel up. And you'll know because that's the perfect way of developing your taste. And it doesn't always come straight away. Smoking a cigar, it can take a couple of years, it can take 10 years to develop a palate, and that's exploring tons and tons of different cigars. And of course, legal notice: be over 21 in the United States to smoke cigars and to drink, and please be over 18 in the UK to smoke cigars and also to drink. And this is just our review as normal sit-down cigar smokers, our review and what we get from the cigar. And if you've tasted anything different, then please write on our YouTube wall or even on Rumble and tell us what you've tasted in the Circle of Life. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear if you're enjoying the show. Of course, you can go and follow us on our social medias. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Rocky_cigar_and_pipe_reviewer. If you want to go and follow Kate, Cigar Piper. You want to follow Grumpy? It's Grumpy_cigar_preacher58. And if you want to follow Matthew or Miguel, it's at Vitola_proof. And the reason I'm calling him Miguel tonight, Matthew had a little accident with the lawnmower and it ripped his beard off. So he's now Miguel.
Ripped it clear off.
And Gaz, I just want to make one more comment. You were talking about these notes that we're picking up. It's not necessarily tasting something, but it's more of a sense or a smell. Like and a lot of times it may trigger something from your childhood. There's an Esteban Carrera cigar that I smoke that I get a note in there that I used to smell when I went into my grandmother's cellar at the farm. That dark, damp, musty smell, and it's amazing. When it clicks, when you hit something like that, it just takes you right there. And the mind is a powerful thing. What do we only use? Like 5% of our brain. So, some of it more than others. But
no, that's the thing though. Whatever you're getting from your cigar or your pipe tobacco. And I smoke, and people know, Grumpy smokes a pipe, Kurt does, and I do. We're slowly trying to get Matthew into smoking the pipe. But some of the pipe tobacco that I've smoked, I've sat there and smoked it. And the smell of the pipe tobacco has brought back the memory of my granddad George. When I used to go and visit him, he'd have his pipe. He'd be sitting there, patting it down, and he'd smoke it. And I always remember going over once, and he put Top Gun on. And he just got it on DVD. You got the big speakers, and bang, you could hear it take off, and he'd go, woof, straight past your ear. And he's there puffing away on his pipe. That memory came back. And this is the thing. It's different things. It's like different notes. I know Kurt gets different notes to Grumpy. I know Matthew does. I do. That could be down to diet as well, of whatever we've had that day or different things.
Mhm.
But normally, we're pretty much hitting the same. And I think tonight, especially you three, you're pretty much hitting them them same kind of notes so far. And it'd be interesting to see what else you get in the cigar as it develops more. And this is the thing. But of course, if anyone hasn't caught up on the podcast, we had a very interesting podcast this last week. And of course, we were sat with Mike Palmer from Ponstanger Cigars. And you can catch that on YouTube. You can catch it on Instagram. And you can also catch it on rumble.com. And we had a great chat about Ponstanger. Of course, Kurt smoked the Connecticut. Grumpy had the San Andreas, and Matthew had the Habano. And the brothers enjoyed them cigars. And we had a great chat with Mike.
Yeah.
And Christ, Grump, that's a great ash. It is, that's a great ash. And this is the thing you can tell. And as we didn't mention, the cigar, of course, is long filler. It's long filler all the way through. It's not mismatched. It's not got short filler and long filler. So it's not a Cuban sandwich. This is a long fill cigar. And what do you reckon now of smoking this cigar so far, Grump, compared to the original? What do you reckon overall from the first time to this time?
Oh, both were excellent, but I'm leaning more toward this one because of whatever it is that's making this one different than the other. They're both excellent, but this one seems to have that little bit of extra oomph to it. Kind of pushes it out there in the front, between the two. But it's a little bolder. To me, it's a little bolder than the first one, but all good.
Where would you put it then, Grump, in the wheelhouse of light to medium, and then medium to full? Where would you put this cigar in your wheelhouse of strength?
Really? As it's going right now, and I'm about the halfway point, it's riding medium, maybe a little, more toward leaning a little harder toward medium plus. But, right now, we're just not up there next to that full. I mean, it's a very smooth and a very enjoyable cigar, and I think a lot of different smokers could enjoy it. But like Kurt said, I wouldn't give it to a first timer. But, this is one of those that's in that, to me, it's in that strength, right in that medium, leaning toward medium plus that just about anybody can enjoy. You're not going to find a lot of people that are experienced smokers, that are going to think this is too much for them.
Okay.
I mean, there may be some, but,
Okay. I'll go with you, Kate. What's your impression now, of course, more of smoking these cigars? Because like you said, you smoked 7, and then, of course, you've had the original. So near enough 8 West Tampas. Where are you sitting more? Did you enjoy the first West Tampa more than this West Tampa, or are you enjoying this creation of the second occasion of the West Tampa Circle?
This one is definitely stronger for me. I actually like. They were both excellent, but this one is just. I think I've got a little more oak in this. Definitely more leather. It's something that I really enjoy. And it's, and when we talk about the strength of a cigar, and this being for a new cigar smoker, we're everyday cigar smokers. So we're smoking cigars almost every day. If not, we're smoking the pipe, but we're smoking something every day. So, and I think a lot of people out there, they may be the fair weather weekend smoker or a couple a month or so. This is going to be, I think this will challenge you, but I think it's something, especially if you really sit down in a quiet place and just really take time to appreciate it and enjoy it. Cause I think this is a special cigar. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know something? I'm pretty much the same with the black and the red. I wouldn't suggest them for a newer cigar smoker. The white, I would. And the white, the reason I'd suggest the white is it's got that subtleness of the pepper, but it's not going to override your senses. It's a nice, smooth cigar to slowly introduce you to West Tampa. Once you got used to that, I'd then say try the black. Then I'd say try the red. Because as we know, the red's totally different. That San Andreas on the red, oh yeah. And I'm a big San Andreas fan. But Matthew, I'm going to go down to you now.
Yeah.
What are your notes now in the cigar? An overall impression so far of the cigar? Is it one of them? There's, wow, I'm going to go and buy 20 million of them and have them in my daily rotation, or is it one of them? Yeah, it's a cigar that I enjoy, and it'd be one there's I'd probably have on a birthday, maybe a Christmas, and also, of course, like I said to Grumpy, where do you put this in your wheelhouse? Is it that medium plus? Is it that fuller body? And Kate, I'll come back to you on where you would put this. But where would you say it's the medium side and then more fuller on the taste note, or would you say it's more medium on the taste note, more fuller in the strength? Where would you put all that, my brother?
All right. So see if I can follow all that. So as far as strength goes, I'm putting this in the medium to full range. That pepper is just so nice to me. I love a really peppery cigar, and it's not going anywhere. It's still hanging in there. It has made itself home in the back of my mouth, and it's staying there the whole time, it seems, and that's okay. And as far as like whether or not this is going to be a regular for me, I would say, it's not gonna fall in the AJ Fernandez camp of my almost daily smokers. But it's definitely one I'm probably going to go through 10 to 15 a year if I can get them. You know what I mean? It is definitely one that I'll go back to. It is fantastic. More of a celebratory one probably for me, but I find good excuses to celebrate randomly.
Yeah.
It's not an exclusive once a year kind of celebrate. It's more of the little celebrations to me.
Okay.
And then as far as shit, I think I lost whatever the third thing you said was.
Note wise now,
Notes.
what kind of notes are you getting?
Still pepper, still leather. The oak is there. It's not quite as prevalent to me right this second. That earthiness that came from the beginning is seems to be kind of riding back in a little bit. It's very enjoyable. Yeah, I love this cigar.
Okay, Kate. I know, of course, I didn't ask you, and I'm sorry, but where would you put this? Would you put this as the medium to full, or would you say it's medium? And then where would you put, of course, the notes? Would you say it's more the fuller notes, or would you say it's the medium notes? Where would you put this?
I put it straight across the board, especially through the first and second, third. I'm just into the second, third now. 7.5 on a 1 to 10 scale for me. So medium plus, smack dab in the middle there. As far as notes, when I get into this second, third, and I've hit this every time, and I haven't told you guys, but I get a dried fruit note in that second, third. I still have the oak, but that leather is in there, that pepper. Those are the dominant are still the leather that in the earth. It's kind of an earthy leather, and then that pepper. And it's not really. It's just a nice pepper. It's not something that's really. It's not a red pepper for me. It's a black pepper. But yeah, I wait for that note when I hit that dried fruit, and I just caught it a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. So, of course, we know it's a two-banded cigar. You've got the band at the bottom. Of course, you've got the band at the top. How was the band at the bottom of the cigar taking that off? Was it easy to take off, or was it a little bit odd? Because we know we've heard certain things from different people. Sometimes the West Tampa bands are so hard to get off, it's unreal. But how was this bottom band for you guys? Was it easy to get off, or was it a little bit tough to get off the cigar? So
For me, it slid right off.
It's like it didn't even have the glue spot.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, I mean, I show you what. See right here, I ain't done a thing to it, and I can take it all the way off if I want to.
Mhm.
I can slide it all the way off. So
That's
yeah,
nice.
no trouble with this one.
What about you, Kurt?
Mine, yeah, well, the bottom one comes off easily. I actually had to pop mine off, but there was no issues there. The I've actually just took my band off, and there's a decent amount of glue on there, but it did come off. It took a little bit of work to get it to pry it loose. It did rip there just on the corner, but and that's pretty much been my experience. They come off fairly well. It's not. It's more of a it's like a matte finish on the band, but I find the ones that are really high gloss, almost metallic, those ones the glue, it just pops right off. But this one's more along the paper line, but it came off okay.
Yeah, this is, of course, more of the paper line with the West Tampa Black.
Yeah, those I've had my share of problems with those.
Yeah,
Not to
as
say
you
that
can
it's a
see.
bad thing. You just got to be careful.
No, it's got the fair bit of glue on it, and of course, you can see where they put the glue on. And Ricky did post a video the other day of the ladies in the factory, and they were doing it. And I found it very harsh as some of the people that were posting on the video, because they're like, "Don't put too much glue on the bands; they're a nightmare to get off." You know something? When you're trying to produce 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 a day cigars, you might miss your step and put a little bit too much glue on. Let the bands warm up. As soon as you get up to that band, it's going to warm up. That glue is going to get loose. Just let it warm up. Don't take the band off straight away, because if you do, you're probably going to end up tearing the wrapper on your cigar. Just let it warm up, because it will come off. And mine came off perfect tonight. Yes, I've had some issues with the West Tampa bands. I've ripped a couple. Some have been so easy to get off. They've just come straight off, and I've been able to just pull them off with no issues on the cigar. Just take your time. That's all we can say. Just take your time with it.
My take on the people making comments like that, all I got to say is go into the business and start producing cigars, and then come back and share your opinion. I don't think anybody has any business slagging that off or saying anything like that. Just it drives me crazy sometimes. But
Yeah.
It's how some people are, and you know something. Ricky knows, because Ricky mentioned, didn't he, when he was live with us? Yeah, I know people moan about the bands, and they say the bands are difficult to get off, but you be in it yourself and you produce it. And this is the thing. You've also got to look at cost issues on bands, because it might be cheaper buying, of course, your paper bands than it is your embossed high-quality bands. And to be honest with you, this is embossed, and it's not a bad band. I like the look of the band. with the black and the gold. I like the red and the gold, the white and the gold. The nice bands. They're nice to save as well, and you can see just overall on the cigar the amount of effort it is to put the cigar together and craft that, but also have a nice looking band. And as we know, being cigar smokers, and even I'll go back, of course, to Emily when she picks me cigars up. She'll surprise me with a cigar, and she's brought it and doesn't know nothing about the cigar off the band. Like most of us, we buy cigars sometimes from the band or hearing reviews of the cigar, or it's a company we like, so we go and buy that cigar, like Matthew with AJ, or me with Blackened from Drew Estate, or Grumpy with the Espinosas that he likes, that he has hiccups on, with the Escabon Carreras and Foundation stuff. They've all got nice looking bands, and we appreciate that in a cigar because we know it takes a lot. And it takes a lot for the company because this is their baby, and the last they need is the negative comments. And there's a lot of negativity around cigars, basically, from some people on the bands, or when I took the band off, you ripped the wrapper. Well, did you leave your cigar to warm up so the glue came loose? No, I just took it off before I lit the cigar. Well, no shit, Sherlock. There's your problem. And yeah, but Grump,
Yo,
how did your hash break off? Did it break off nice and clean? Have you had to touch it up or anything, or is it still burning nicely the way it's going?
no touch ups. It just it's just a little crooked, but not bad.
Okay.
But it just broke right off. I mean, it took itself out. I mean, I didn't hit it or anything.
Yep. And Matthew, how are you enjoying your first time with the Circle of Life, my brother?
Absolutely wonderful.
I will say something that I remember when we spoke with Ricky and he was talking about the cigar.
Yep.
The whole idea behind the cigar, the premises of calling it the Circle of Life. It's not about him or his joy of smoking cigars. This was put out there for the cigar smoker, their circle of life, and how he wanted people to share their stories of their life, and their life of smoking cigars. And that's the kind of the whole story behind the name for this cigar. And it's definitely, quality product. You'll remember it.
You brought a good idea there, then, good. So, stories of how we started cigars. Well, when I was a boy, a long time ago,
A little bit of baby.
Long time
at
ago.
a New Year's party, I had my very first ever cigar, and that was it. That opened my eyes to cigars. There's my little story. But yeah, you know something? It is about the stories, and Kate, of course, your story of how you started in cigars and then took that break away and then came back to him. The same as Grumpy driving down them long roads in the truck, having the odd cigar and then getting into it full time. Matthew came into full time with cigars, and myself and you. It's great stories that we can share, and this is the thing when we sit at night, when we're in Discord, we chuck the stories out. I come out with a new story, and the guy's like, "Whoa, we didn't know that about you." Same as you, Grumpy, last week. I didn't know you'd been married twice, my brother.
Yeah.
That shocked me. I thought you'd only been married the once to Mrs. Grumpy. That was it. I thought there was only one Mrs. Grumpy, not two.
No.
But this is the thing. We've all got stories, and cigars brings people together. It brings us together, of course. Me in England, the guys in the States, and our brotherhood, and the stories we share. It's a great thing, and definitely the idea of Ricky bringing this out, it's not about his story. He wants to hear your stories. Is a great example of the person that Ricky is. Even just look at PCA, the amount of time he spends with someone that's purchasing these cigars. They're going to put it in their lounge. The time that he spends with the customers at the event. He is one of them people that you can go to and talk to, and he'll spend time with you. It's not a case of looking at his watch to say, well, you're taking my time up. He'll spend the time with you. And it's the greatness about Ricky. And it's why, of course, we've enjoyed having Ricky on the show and why we enjoy West Tampa. But me overall on the black, that pepper's still there. Still getting that blackness. Still getting that earth. I'm getting a subtle roast coffee. And it's a subtle roast. It's, to me, this is more on that medium side. It's not on the plus. The notes, I definitely say the notes are more of a bit fuller to me. And I like that fullness of the notes. It's not full as the red. But if someone said to me, would you recommend this cigar? Yeah, if you got a couple of cigars under your belt, I'd recommend this. If you're starting new, I wouldn't recommend this. I'd say go and try the white. And that's my on the black. But of course, I know Kurt's getting down more. So Kurt, what other notes are you getting from the cigar now, brother? Is it changed in notes or is it same kind of notes that you're getting?
It's pretty much the same notes, but they kind of take turns driving for me. And I don't get that dried fruit all the way through. It's every once in a while I'll taste that. But I guess I'm just starting to get into that final third. But for me, the final third, the nicotine kicks up for me. That's the best way I can describe it. It gets a little stronger. Still has that smooth flavor for me. The oak, but it's that leather is really dominant for me, and it's something that I enjoy.
Why do you reckon there's the nicotine level creeps up, Kurt? Do you reckon it's to do with the Obscura and the wrapper, or do you reckon it's the filler? What do you reckon is ramping that nicotine level up?
I think of the way it's blended inside in the filler. I think it's meant to do this. Everyone that I've smoked has done this. They've all been very consistent, the same. So yeah, most definitely.
Grump, are you getting the similar kind of notes as what Kurt's getting, or are you getting anything?
Yeah, the big three, man. The big three still in the saddle. I mean, like you said, they kind of, they'll rotate in and out there, but the big three's been riding all along through here. They've been getting that oak thing. I haven't gotten that, but I thought it was going to try to get a little nutty there at a certain point. It might be kind of like that dry fruit thing that Kurt was talking about, just a passing through or something. I don't know, but no, it's a very solid cigar. I mean, any way you look at it, but it is. Of course, I'm just right there. Of course, I've slid the band all the way up to the end, but it's starting to amp up. I can see where he's talking about that, because it is starting to amp up, but okay. It's very smooth all the way through, solid cigar.
What about you, Matthew?
Well, as far as notes go, I'm getting a coffee on it now, and I wasn't getting that before. Definitely heading into the final third. Definitely getting spice still, the pepper, the oak. But I was getting like a black coffee on the aftertaste.
What, like a dark espresso or anything?
Yeah, like an Italian roast or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's very nice. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I don't know if that's just a me because of the random mix of bullshit I got going on with it.
The random mix of bullshit. What I've got going on.
My Pepsi, my whiskey, my water. I got all sorts of shit going on. I can't ever do anything. Just
jeez.
Well, I gotta stay hydrated. This I like just because it's sweet.
Stay hydrated. Cheers.
And this because whiskey. So yeah.
Well, of course, we know on the podcasts, and especially when you look, especially if we put Matthew on the big screen, of course, that nice big whiskey collection behind the back of him. And Matthew is, of course, our whiskey guy. So how's the whiskey going with the cigar?
This single barrel is working really well with it. I don't know that I would go with something quite this high proof next time. Might go back to Old Faithful, the old Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Next time, a little bit sweeter, a little bit more mellow.
I was
But
going to
yeah,
ask you
I'm
about
very
what
much enjoying
I
it.
was going to ask you what you would suggest with that cigar. On the
Definitely like
whiskey
a
side.
Buffalo Trace or a Weller Special Reserve, something a little sweeter.
Mhm.
Okay.
A little bit more 90 proof, not too punchy, to really complement it. Actually, like what Kurt's got right there, that Eagle Rare, that again 90
So
proof.
so
His is
definitely a
10 years
bourbon.
old, so it's got a little bit more character. So yeah, definitely a
So,
bourbon.
so definitely a bourbon. So would you pull out a Scotch and put a Scotch with it, or don't you think a Scotch should mix with it?
I think maybe a Scotch, but like a real fruity one, like the Glenmorangie like 12 would
Yeah.
be good with it.
Glenmorangie 12.
Yeah, something that's a little bit more mild, orchard fruits and stuff like that would go well with it.
So since
Yeah, go ahead.
since this is a little bit stronger cigar, more of a contrast to kind of balance it out.
Yeah,
That's what I.
yeah. That's what I usually go for, especially if I'm going to do kind of like a review of the pairing. I try to do something that's going to contrast with it.
Okay.
This is kind of a battle of strengths here, and it's great. But it's definitely not for a subtle evening.
Grump. I know,
Yeah.
of course, you're not a whiskey guy, but would you say there's a Guinness a good with that cigar, or do you reckon the cigar to kill the Guinness? What do you reckon?
No, I believe it would pair well with a Guinness or maybe a milk stout of another brand or whatever. But something like that. Well, I believe would pair very well with this. Wouldn't
Okay.
be it wouldn't override it at all. I don't believe. I believe they go well together.
So I'm gonna go with a spur of the moment thing now.
Oh boy.
So what
Why?
would you say, food wise, would pair brilliantly with this cigar? Because we know some people say a steak with this cigar and have a wine that'll go perfect with the cigar. Now, where would you say a meal would go with that cigar? I know with me with this, maybe a steak, some peppercorn sauce, and a nice IPA or a nice creamy beer on that lower side of the 4.5% would go with this. That I would say with the black. Now, of course, where would you guys say with a meal? Kurt, go you first. Would you say barbecue with that, or would you say steak or fish dinner? Would you say go perfect with that cigar, my brother?
No, the first thing that comes to my mind is a medium rare ribeye and a loaded baked potato, man. Just a hearty meal.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
first thing that hit my mind when you said that.
What about you, Grump?
Mm. There's a lot of things that go good with it, but if I couldn't have that rare ribeye with that loaded baked potato, then you need to sit me down where I can have all the shrimp and oysters I can have.
Oh, brother. Oh, now you're talking. Now you're talking.
That'd be that's the only two ways I'd like to travel with this one.
How about you, Matthew? What would you have?
Well, I certainly wouldn't go with Mexican, which is what I had earlier, because I think it may have made it so I didn't quite get the spice at first. I
Yep.
think but yeah, it's hard to beat a good ribeye, man. I
It
can't
is.
even imagine. Like when I think of if I got one more meal to go, I'm going ribeye and loaded baked potato.
So
I
if
can't
that's your
even maybe with a lobster tail beside it. Other than that.
okay, so that's your last meal. Kate, what would be your last meal if you could have one last meal?
My last
would you have?
meal, like like
your
death
last-
row, like
That's where I went. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where Matthew went. So, yeah, death row kind of last meal, my brother.
yeah,
There we
How
go.
would yours be?
like I just my steak, man. I love
Yeah.
steak, you know, and especially now in the last year and a half, it's been so dang expensive. I haven't been eating as much steak as I normally do, and I miss it,
Exactly.
you know. So yeah, I would medium rare ribeye, you know, that was been cooked and with a nice slab of butter on it, you know how they do at the steakhouse, man, and then just the loaded baked potato a la carte, and man, it's so.
Okay, Grumpy. What would be your meal on death row? Your
Hey.
last meal, my brother. Fucking death
You-
row, I
you-
tell you.
If you think I'm not ordering my big old ribeye, you're crazy. It's my last way out. It's gonna be that with that big old fat baked potato, and I might even ask them if they'd top it off with a nice big fat piece of pecan pie.
Okay.
I have to go with key lime for my dessert.
Hey,
Matthew, you dessert. What you'd have for your dessert?
Yeah. Y'all are killing me.
What would be yours? Your dessert, Matthew?
Oh, pecan pie, 100%. That's my ride or die, baby. That's
And it's got to be for me. Key lime pie. It's got to be from Key West limes down there. You know, you got to
Key West
do it.
limes.
I would do it right. Yeah.
I must have never had a Key West one because I think they're all shit. But
Oh. We do apologize for the language tonight, but we are the
oh,
ones.
fuck off.
I think if it was my last meal, it'd be liver, some kidney beans, and a nice Chianti.
All right, Hannibal.
Now, I definitely have for my last meal liver and onions, and a nice gravy with some mashed potatoes,
Oh,
and then
man.
I'd have a nice pint of Boddingtons, and then for me pudding, I'd have to have a nice caramel cheesecake.
This
that would
is
be
this is
my
why you
last
don't
meal.
ask the Brits what their meal is.
Really?
Well, what's up with
7-course
liver?
meal.
Liver's brilliant. Look at me. I'm a bit like Arnold
Uh.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I bloody
By
wish.
weight,
I bloody
maybe.
wish. Fuck you. Fucking weight, maybe. But no. So, of course, now, overall opinions of the cigar from Luke. So, on a Luke side, from 1 to 5, where would you put the look of the cigar with the band and the presentation of the cigar? Where would you put it from 1 to 5? So, Matthew, I'm going to go with you first, then Grumpy, then Kate.
Are we doing decimal points or whole numbers?
Whole numbers.
I gotta go with a 5 then.
Okay, Grumpy.
Yeah, I'd have to, because the presentation of this thing is one of those that says "buy me, buy me." So
Kate?
yeah,
Straight up 5 for me. It is absolutely a beautiful cigar. You take that out of the cello, that dark wrapper. I mean, it just says luxury and richness, and yeah.
And of course, what we do want to say, even though you would class this as a premium cigar, Ricky's still a boutique cigar company. And it's a boutique cigar. And we are very passionate about boutique. But let's go from the Luke side now to, of course, taste-wise. Where would you put this on your taste-wise? Would you say a 5 on your taste? Or would you say on the lower side with the taste? Because as we know with taste, everyone's different. So, of course, this is going to be a different kind of point of where this is going to be. So, Matthew, where would you put this on your scale taste-wise? 5 being absolutely out this world, best taste I've ever had, or down at, say, the 3, it's a little bit stronger than I'm used to. Where would you put it?
I'd probably put it at a 4. Not because I don't think it's great, but because it's I have cigars that hit my palate just a little bit better. But yeah, probably a 4.
Okay, Grumpy, where about you, my brother? Where would you put this?
Well, since we're keeping whole numbers, I'm going to have to stay with the solid 4 myself.
Okay, Kurt, what about you, my brother?
I'm going to go with a 4 as well, only because this is at the top of my range, that I typically smoke. So this is it's a big cigar for me. Like I say, it's not for for the new cigar smoker, but it's definitely, and especially if you really take the time to appreciate it and enjoy it. For me,
Right.
so I would definitely say a 4.
Okay. So we said, of course, there on taste, we're a 4, of course, 5 on presentation. So overall, if you were to give this a rating, and your rating overall, and say, we know, of course, ratings are like in the 90s, sometimes 70s, sometimes 80s. What would be your personal rating? So, Grumpy, I'm going to go with you first. What would be your personal rating of this cigar?
Well, are we still going to 1 to 5, or do we get a 1 to 10?
We can have
Up to
a
100
rating
out of 100.
out of 100. Now, your overall rating out of 100.
Yeah,
Oh, overall out of a.
you're sitting on the
Like,
panel of a cigar aficionado, and
I started to say, yeah, we're rating them for the magazine, huh?
the next month's issue is getting ready to come out, and they need your rating.
Yeah. The cigar aficionados. Well, I'm going to mean the loon aficionados. Yeah.
Let's see. Take 1 down here, put 1 over there. Take the 6 over here, put the 3 over there. I would probably give this. Actually, man, I would rate this one probably a 94, 95 overall.
Not a bad rating. Matthew, what about you, my bro? Where would you put this?
So I was gonna say 93, so I'll stick with 93.
Okay, Kate.
I'm gonna go because see, I think with my channel, I think I've reviewed 57 different cigars that I've had on there. So compared to through all of those, I fall right at a 93 with this one.
So
Those
straight
are all
away,
very good numbers,
is
high numbers.
Yeah.
it's a great high number with what it's. Oh, excuse me, with what it's been rated, especially in the 90s. And to be honest with you, even with the black, I'd definitely say that's a 90 for me with the black. I'd say the San Andreas is more of a 94, and basically the white is more of an 80 for me overall. Don't get me wrong, all great cigars, great tasting cigars, and I enjoy them. They are in my regular rotation. Of course, I smoked a black 2 weeks ago. I'll probably end up next month going back to the red. Then I'll go the month after and go back to the white. And when, of course, the Devil's Crab's available, I'll get the Devil's Crab. When, and I say when, and I hope this gets back to the importer in the UK. But come on, move your arses and get the Circle of Life in the UK now. Come on, time's up. It's out. Come on, get in. So when it does get here, and who knows, I'll probably end up smoking it in America before it comes out in England. But I can't wait to try it and give my overall impression of it, because it's been great hearing what you guys are getting from the cigar. And of course, I know Kurt's getting down more towards the business end, as I call it, the nub. I know, Matthew, you're getting more into that nub area. I know Grumpy's just coming into that final third area. But overall now of notes coming from the cigar. So, Kurt, I'm going to go up to you first. Overall lasting notes of that cigar, which you would say, yes, if somebody asked me to recommend this, I know they've been smoking cigars for ages, I'm going to go and recommend this cigar. What would be your notes that you would recommend from this cigar? If somebody said, right, Kurt, give me an overall review of the cigar and the notes.
you're going to get dominant leather, an earthy leather, oak, black pepper in this final third. Especially now that I'm well into this final third, it's the spice really kicks up for me. Like I can taste the spice on my lips. So it definitely ramps up in the final third, which is something that I always enjoy in a cigar. I like going on that roller coaster ride. And I like those transitions, even though these notes that I've tasted have been pretty consistent all the way through the first, second, and final third. But there's different, like I say, they take turns driving, and definitely that spice kicks up at the final end for me to bring me home, take it home.
Right, Matthew. Same question to you, my brother.
Yeah, man. Again, like what Kurt said, it does transition quite a bit. It goes back and forth between the notes. That coffee note is still staying with me, and maybe it comes and goes a little bit, and maybe that's actually like that could even be that dried fruit note that you keep talking about, Kurt, because I get a dried fruit on coffee a lot, so maybe I'm just kind of combining that taste with the leather. But yeah, I really enjoy it.
I won't say what I was going to say about Kurt.
You know me.
stop now.
If I can find a dried fruit or a citrus or some kind of fruit note in a cigar, man, that's woo.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a hard
Kurt
time
is that-
finding those typically, so it's great
Kurt
to
is
have
that
you
kind of
around.
person that loves them fruity notes, the cedar, of course, the orange peel, maybe an apple peel in it. Of course, getting that nice mint. When we smoked that cold one, he said to me, "There's a mint in it." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about, bro?" I smoked that cigar shitless. I've never had a mint taste. And then next time I smoked it live with Kurt, I'm like, "What the hell is that taste?" And there's the mint. And I was like, "Shit."
Yeah.
Even when we did the Allegiance, I could taste that citrus, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Wow!" And Kurt's going, "There's the orange. There's the orange." Yeah, it did, but also it tasted a little bit like grapefruit to me. Tasted a little bit grapefruity, and I thought, "Wow, that's a nice taste." I'm just glad none of you said floral fucking bouquet because I hate that word. Floral.
Yeah, there's no
bouquet.
floral bouquets in this cigar.
No, none to be found here.
Grump, of course, with you now. Same question as asked Kurt and Matthew. Someone comes to you, been smoking cigars ages. They ask you for a general opinion and a review of the circle of life. What would you say to them, my brother?
Well, I would have to be as honest as the others. I mean, for me, it's the leather, the earth, the pepper that's there, and then there's the kind of intermittent nuttiness for me. I mean, I know they're getting the oak and stuff, but I'm not, kind of it's kind of a nutty thing for me. But that would be, and as far as the way the cigar plays out, the way those notes kind of interchange with each other's like, Kurt says they take turns driving. It's kind of like a child sitting there, changing the channel on the radio, just cranking it back and forth between four channels, just sitting there messing with it. It's a ride, but it's a very pleasurable ride. It's an enjoyable one.
Okay. So, Kurt, I'm going to ask you one of these questions that's going to be straight out there now. Would this be a cigar that you'd smoke with a direwolf, my brother?
With the dire, oh yeah. I mean, this is and then for those of you that haven't been privy to this, we are coming out with a 3-part, over 6 hours Darwood episode on the Cigar Loons when we go down the rabbit holes. So that's to come.
One part.
Yeah.
This finger, brother, not this one.
This finger. Okay, well, one.
This has got that edginess. When you think of a dire wolf taking over, Yellowstone and taking out the gray wolf, this could be a contender.
I hate doing that.
As
I
soon
believe
as
in
as soon as them dire wolves get loose and escape, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, this cigar is
Well,
it's special.
I think Grumpy knows what me and Matthew were doing then with that finger. Of course, Matthew, come on. We pledge
Roman
allegiance
Reigns.
to pledge allegiance to our tribal chief Roman Reigns. Bit of wrestling for you. Which yeah, of course, if you're a wrestling fan and a cigar fan, then of course you can catch up on Smoke Beyond the Mat, where I sit with Grumpy and we talk about old school wrestling from Jake the Snake to, of course, superstar Billy Graham and many other people that we spoke about. We're making some more. Just bear with us. We're trying to get the schedule sorted so we can make some more. And we're going to come out with Andre, Luna Fishon, Jerry Martel, and maybe come up with some more of the up and coming wrestling. Of course, give our opinion on WrestleMania 41 that we watched and the Hall of Fame and who deserved to be in it. Yeah. And of course, next year, it's in New Orleans, and we might pop in while we're at PCA. You know, you never know. We might just pop in, go have a quick watch, see the Undertaker come and chokeslam somebody or chokeslam a cigar. You never know. But yeah, but no, you know something. I've got to say, West Tampa is straight out there. West Tampa's coming out with more cigars, and Ricky's definitely knows what he's doing with blending, and I definitely think the more as this company grows, we're going to see some more great cigars like we've seen. And he's just going to keep going and going. And all the best to Ricky because he's got some great, great cigars. The Circle of Life, the normal West Tampers, these two new ones that he's got coming out, of course. When you look at the Attic series, of course, the one that was made for around Tampa and the... Go on, Kirk, say it again.
The Boulache or the
Boulache Boulevard.
Yeah, that's
That
actually a
one,
street in
Boulache
West
Boulevard
Tampa.
or something like that.
Yeah, that one's ceased being made now. Of course, it's a little bit too much more money to buy. So, of course, Ricky's not going to be producing that one. But if you've got it, smoke it, enjoy it. If you've got a box of them, save them because you're not going to be able to get them anymore. But yeah, he's definitely got something for everyone. If you're in that medium, he's got a medium. If you're in that full, he's got a full. He's got something there for you to smoke.
Mhm.
And go and support him. Like we say, go and support West Tampa. Great company, great cigars, great guy. We've enjoyed having him on the podcast, being a great guest. And like we said, this is our review of the cigar. We're not, of course, telling anybody to go and buy them. We're just saying this is what we get from our review on the cigar. And again, please be over the age of 21 in the United States. And please be over the age of 18 in the UK. But Grump, would you go and buy this cigar again? Would you go and buy the cigar again and have another one?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And why would you go back to buy this cigar?
Do what now? Why would I what?
Why would you go back to buying the cigar? What is stood out tonight for you to go and buy another one?
Well, it has all the things constant throughout that I like. You know, it's very well constructed. And we've discussed more than once the presentation of the cigar. It's a very nice cigar, nice looking cigar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would go buy it again. I mean, it's a very very well made quality cigar. So
Okay.
yes,
Matthew?
definitely.
What about you?
Oh yeah, it's on the list. 100%.
And why would you go back to it?
Just a flavor profile that just keeps me on my toes and keeps me wanting more every puff, you know.
What about you, Kurt?
Most definitely. I've only got one more left, and until I can pick up some more, I'm probably going to sit on that one for a little bit. like I said, I went through a 10-pack minus the 2 that I sent to Grumpy and Matthew. But as far as the whole premise of the Circle of Life, I've really enjoyed doing this review, and I can't think of anybody else that I'd want to sit and smoke it with. Gaz, I know you don't have one, but eventually you will get to experience this cigar. So
That's the thing, something I can't wait to try it because I have been enjoying Ricky's cigars, and like I say, I'm a big fan of CEO that he made and different ones that he's made.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely knows what he's doing, and especially because of the collaboration with Ernesto. That's another thing about that cigar, and it's why I'm looking forward to it. But of course, we have been the Cigar Loons tonight, and we've done this review on the Circle of Life. And as we say on every show, of course, stay smoky, Kurt.
And like I said, guys, this has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you guys, as I do always. But this has been a special review for us. So until next time, smoke them if you got them.
Matthew.
Yeah, man, this has been an enjoyable time. Great conversation, great cigar, good whiskey. Cheers, everybody. See you next week. And don't start now, won't be now.
Grumpy.
Once again, we appreciate every one of you guys being with us. Share us with your friends and everybody else. Get them to subscribe and follow us. We're here every Tuesday night. We try to be here live every Tuesday night, but when we can't, we'll do this. But it's always a pleasure to get together with the guys. Just us, sitting, having a good cigar, shooting the breeze, throwing things around. That's always one of my favorite, podcasts to put together. Just spending time with us sitting around. But I've enjoyed it. Been a pleasure. And we do appreciate everybody that's watching us. And like I always tell you, I love you and Jesus loves you. But if he's not driving the bus, pull over and let him take the wheel. He drives better than we do. And until you see me on the next time, love you.
Yeah, and we will be live, of course, next week, and 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, at midnight in the UK, and it's going to be maybe a guest, maybe not a guest. You'll have to come and watch and find out. Of course, check us out on YouTube. Yeah, go on, Kurt.
And do not forget, stay tuned because we got an upcoming Dire Wolf Rabbit Hole episode. You're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah, that's probably going to be in about 5 months' time. But yeah, we'll probably have that as well. But yeah.
After they escape and they're running wild, we'll do an episode on them.
Absolutely.
We'll catch you all soon. Stay safe and enjoy. And stay smoky, everyone. And thanks for watching. Well, I thought he was playing.
Cut.
Cut.
We're ending. See ya.
See ya.